everybody. Oh, I am so glad to be here today. I just want you to know that I'm Greg Anderson.
And I am Robbie Haigh.
I'm Melinda Gallant.
And I am Joe Luft.
Excellent.
Excellent. At least we know who we are.
Yes, that's true. No, actually, that's not who we are. I'm Melinda Gallant, and you are?
Greg Anderson.
And you are?
Robbie Haigh.
And you are?
I'm Joe Luft.
There we go. Thank goodness we got that straightened out. So here we all are. We got together a long time ago. My gosh, I think it's been a couple of years ago. And at a Christmas party in this studio, this person said, we should have an interview show where we interview each other.
Oh, that was me?
That was you. And
There was a lot of wine. There was a lot of wine. It was sitting over there.
here's the best part. We're finally doing it. It didn't take you too long to get this thing going.
Well, here we are. Here we are.
So it was a lot of
Yeah.
work. Anyway, but the good news is we are here today to let people know what we do. We all have very distinct shows, very different shows. And let's start with you, Robbie. I know you've been on, how long have you been on SCTV?
Oh my goodness. 9 years?
9 years? Wowzer.
Shortly after
That's great.
they began.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you do a show that spans the bridge. It goes over the bridge. You do
Yes,
things
it
in,
does.
yeah, that's an
I'm on the other
excellent.
side of the bridge.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful.
Yeah. So when my show started many moons ago, it was called, oh dear God, I can't believe
It doesn't matter. But it was, what's your show?
Seniority. It was
Oh,
called
seniority.
Oh, seniority.
Oh, so you were doing that on purpose, seniority moment.
And after 8 years of seniority, one day, talking with Paula, when I came here, of course, I said, Paula, do you think it might be time to change the name of the show to increase the population of the people watching it?
Sure.
So we decided to call it Downtown, which is
Love it.
Yeah.
more, in tune with what my show is all about.
Right. And so what is your show all about? What do you do?
Well, because of it being seniority, it was all about what older people did after they retired.
Excellent.
And then the reason for the change, we wanted to incorporate what was new and different in Sandwich.
Nice.
New programs, new people on boards, just informational.
Nice. Excellent. So, Mr. Greg, what do you do? I know you've got a show that does everything.
I just hang out and drink.
Come up with ideas.
I have, I'm coming up on 7 years.
Wow.
I think my first round of interviews were a slate of Meet the Candidates. And I approached Paula, or Paula and I were on a board together, Council on Aging board together, and we got to know each other. And I said, let's do a little bit
I'm
of
just going to stop.
something.
Center for Active Living now.
Yes. Now, yes.
See how name
Changes, it
make
makes
all
a
the
difference.
Exactly. And so we talked about my love of television. I come from television. I'm not in it anymore. Television and radio. So broadcasting was always a big thing for me. And I said, let me get a shot at interviewing some of these contested races.
Nice.
So we started with some of those candidates, which I continue to do. So that's Meet the Candidates. We did a show called The Takeaway, which has bubbled up and then it's gone away, and it's bubbled up and it's gone away a little bit. That's a little bit more lifestyle. We focused on Alzheimer's. We did a whole bunch of different type of topics. And I've done some pizza shows and some food shows.
Yeah, I saw those.
So I want to bring some of those back. My wife Jenna and I did one together, and people notice her more in town than they do me. And she did one stinking show.
There you go.
I don't get it.
Here's the interesting thing, though. You also did a show about homes here, didn't you?
Yes, that's
Which
right.
was, I found very interesting.
I think
You
it's
did the Mouse Lady home.
yes,
Down.
yeah, Aunt Sally's house.
Yeah.
That's right, on 6A.
Yep.
So that's a show called The House Detectives, and I did that with a wonderful woman by the name of Amanda Haynes, and we focused on homes that were basically eyesores, falling apart, dilapidated, and we wanted to know what the story is. Without no one's living in this home, so it's not like they would come by Joe's house and say, oh my God, what the heck is
I
that?
actually want to do that show where I just knock on someone's door. It's like
Yeah, and what the hell?
Publishers Clearinghouse for like
Exactly,
slumlords.
exactly. So so we focused on those old homes, and we most recently did one, or I hosted this one on the boathouse on
Oh,
Champagne.
yeah.
So I think it's going to come back. It's going to look a little different. Paula and I are brainstorming, but yeah,
Nice.
there's so much opportunity to do really cool stuff here.
Sure there is. And Joe Luft,
Yes.
you are the funny man at the table.
Some people say that.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but other people do.
Looks aren't everything, right?
So, Joe, you're new to town, relatively.
Relatively new to town, yeah.
Relatively new to town. But you've done a couple of shows here, I think.
I think I have.
Yeah.
I'm more of a quality over quantity person, and
There
that's
you go.
not necessarily ode to the quality. It's more procrastination.
So, but your shows usually focus on something, like you did something about the snowy owl.
Yeah, so my show is basically, general concept was the Tonight Show, but just in a local setting.
Yeah.
So I wear the suit, I get the
Yeah.
whole backdrop, and the idea.
And you're quite stylish.
I've had this suit for 10 years, so it's really more of a fitness setup. As long as I can fit in
The
this,
suit.
we're
It's
good to go.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thank you.
You're ready for a wedding or a funeral.
I'm actually gonna wear this to a wedding this weekend.
There
so
you go.
It's just cheaper to do that.
Yeah.
But the concept is, let's put some shine on something that maybe wouldn't normally get that, and the
Right.
comedy is taking something serious that isn't serious.
Right. Excellent. And how many shows have you done? A couple, right?
I think 3 or 4,
Yeah,
maybe something
yeah.
like that. We did.
I can't remember. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Well, happens to me too. No, what happened? We did King Richard's Fair. That was the first show, and we
Yeah.
just went there, and I ended up getting arrested. So
Oh.
Did you really?
in the court of King Richard.
Court of
But it
Richard.
was, it was an interesting show because I didn't know what to expect. My general idea is go in there, be respectful of what the universe, the realm is, quite literally the realm.
And there are people there that go there that buy a ticket that go in that really think it is the realm,
Exactly. So
which
you,
is a little bit scary.
it is, but you've got to embrace, but kind of mold with that. And
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that area, I was able to get
That's
sentenced to the
excellent.
gallows. So
Yeah. But they didn't hang you or cut your head off. So
not
those
that
are
I
good
know,
news.
still here today.
Yeah, there you go.
So I want to ask you, your show.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Well, it started with a conversation. I was fortunate enough to be a part of the town hall rededication. They came out of the clear blue sky and asked me to be the head of the committee, and I was kind of like, okay. And at that time, where was I working? I was working across the street from Mashpee Commons. But I think because I'd worked for Mashpee Commons and done a lot of activities and, had a lot of events there and whatever, they thought, oh, she lives here in town, maybe she'd be a good one. And I knew Frank Panorfi, who was a selectman at the time, and he was very kind and asked me to do it. So I said, sure. So we get to the end of it. Now it's going to come on the big day, and it's the day before the big day. And Paula comes in and looks at me and goes, can you interview somebody? Kind of like, you think you could interview somebody? Because I was the only one kind of standing around. And I said, because we were doing a preview of the town hall before the rededication. And I said, sure, I can do anything. I took improv. So she asked me to interview Bud about the town hall. So we stood on the stage and did it. And then afterwards, she said, would you ever think about doing a show? And I said, no. Don't be silly. What would I do? And then I went, after I got home, I thought, oh, yes, I'll do a show, and we'll call it Melinda Chats.
Oh.
Well, she nixed that right away.
Oh, gosh.
And said, no, Melinda Chats. I just thought it would be funny.
Yeah.
I was trying to be funny. And anyway, so we came up with Cape Conversations because it could be a whole gamut of things. And that's how it started.
I have to say, I'm not going to say of all of the shows, because I really think, and Paula, we give so much credit to for
Oh my God, we couldn't do it without her.
keeping us going,
And
keeping
this-
our
and the
ideas
crew.
going. Oh, and the crew.
And the crew,
The crew.
geez.
I don't know any of their names,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah,
no, they
right.
are absolutely fantastic. But I think Cape Conversations really is a standout, in my opinion, because
Well,
I
thank
think
you.
you cover so much. You get humor, you get meaningful things that are happening in the community, and you do it with this levity. That's really, really special.
Just so you know,
do a great job.
I am not in love with all those people I interview.
Oh,
How
welcome
about
to my
you?
world.
Are you in love with yours?
With that?
You know, where you go, oh my God, I'm interviewing this person, I'm in awe of them, I think they're the best thing since sliced bread.
No.
See, there you
Find
go.
out what's new and happening in town.
And that's the way you leave
And
it, right?
may be positive.
Yeah.
It may be negative.
Right.
I have sat at this desk and I have talked to people who I know are totally out of their comfort zone, not just being on television, but
Yes.
running for a race, and
yeah.
they just don't understand it. If there was a fly on the wall after we stopped shooting, and people are like, "Oh my God, did I say the right thing? Was I?"
Yeah.
You know, there's such insecurity. But these are people who just come from their own private lives, and now all of a
Right.
sudden their name is in a lawn sign,
Right.
and they have to account for things.
Right.
And I do my research, so I ask questions.
And how
that-
come you didn't go to any town meetings?
Exactly, exactly.
That's
so
why I'll never run.
I can tell. I can tell there are people out there that I talk to that are just like,
Yeah.
I'm not buying it.
Do you find
Yeah.
people that maybe you didn't think you would like before you interviewed them, when you're interviewing them, you at least have this different appreciation, or maybe it takes away from things you disagree with?
100%. And the reason I say that is because the people that I talk to are not looking to grow a career. They're not career politicians. They come from a place of, I really want to do good. Or I have an ego and I want to satisfy my ego. But I'm less interested in how they perform. I'm more interested in the content. And so it's amazing what people will share when the questions come to them that kind of unpacks it a little bit. You know, why are you running is very different than, why the hell are you disrupting your world and getting
Doing this,
eaten alive on Facebook? What's in it for you?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So I have had opinions change, and I have developed friends. Jim Pierce, who
Oh,
we
you just
recently
passed away.
lost,
Yeah.
sat across from me, very stoic and very literal, but just the nicest
Nice
guy.
man.
And
Yep.
at this desk, I was like, that's going to be a friend of mine. I like him.
Yeah, he's a good
So,
guy. He was a good guy for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, did good things for the town. What's really funny is I have two favorite shows. And I'm only gonna, and then I will also say this, I know it's a good thing. But the one thing I found interesting, and you were talking about sitting across from somebody, we go out sometimes out into the real world. You know, they let me out of here, that's my joke. And we were doing an interview in Mashpee, and the person that we were interviewing was an executive director. She was wonderful. She just, I mean, you couldn't shut her up. She was like, yes, this is great. Ask a question, she went, you know, and she talked and talked and talked. And all I had to do was wait till she took a breath and ask another question. It was just perfect. But there was also somebody else with her. And this is a gentleman in our community here who is well known, popular, good looking older gentleman, you know, a little bit suave, worldly. It was yakety, yakety, yakety before we started. And as soon as they counted down, go, he was like this. And so I asked, I
Like
said,
the Sidney Brady with the red light on
yes,
the
yeah. So,
Brady bus?
so, you know, what are you doing? What are you up to now? What's this new thing you're producing? And he was like, well, and he just said the title of it. And I was like, oh my God. It was the hardest. I began to have, I call it Nixon sweat. It's flop sweat. You know, where your upper lip sweats a little bit because you know you're dying. And I thought, I can't get him out of here soon enough.
Yeah.
But have you ever had one of those? Well, you don't interview,
yes,
but.
I do.
Oh, yeah? Yeah? Have you had one?
What I like to do is I haven't had one, but I know that people's general inclinations, I don't want to be on camera unless you're crazy like us. So you have to say things that throw them off. The moment you can, I think comedy helps me because
Yeah.
the moment I can make somebody laugh,
Yeah.
they forget about it at least for a second and we can start having a conversation. Whereas if you're asking someone about a serious issue that they're just going to get, torn apart online, they're not going to be as comfortable, or somebody who's, not ready to be there, it's tough. But comedy, I try to make myself, sorry, I hit my mic. That's how much I do this. But I try to be the idiot so everybody else can feel good. And then the conversation starts.
Deprecating humor is always popular.
Yeah, I think just not even in television, but just in life.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, best show.
No, I haven't finished with worst show.
Oh, worst show, sorry.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's someone that, after a number of years, finally has been on the show here with someone else, not me. But, and I don't want to mention names.
Oh, has been on one of our shows?
Yes.
Oh, my
I
goodness.
don't want to mention names because I think she is still in the position where I did a lot of research about her and is quite interested in what she was doing, why she was doing it. It was really heavy. And when she came on the show, she she came in with a basket of stuffed animals.
Oh, my. For you or for the whole staff or?
That was her program. She never did talk to me about that, but each of her animals
Had a name?
designated a certain chakra in the body.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, talk about
Thrown off.
whatever you want to, the
Yeah.
cold cloth in the face. I'm looking at her like, where did you come from? And what are you doing here? I didn't say that. I had to
But could they see it
pretend.
in your eyes, though, Robbie?
Oh, she could see it in the thumbnail. I was
Oh, that's funny.
absolutely
Oh, yeah.
thrown,
Yeah.
Oh, my
completely
gosh.
and absolutely thrown.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my
Wow.
gosh.
Yeah, and it was really a horror show.
Yeah.
I don't think the show ever went on the air.
Oh, that's what my next question was. Did it actually make it on air?
No, I
Yeah.
was beside myself. I was like,
Oh, what a waste
I
of
was
time.
slam dunked.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
like, if ever I've looked like I had no idea what I was doing in this world.
Yeah, that was it.
Now, do you guys do your shows? Well, your shows are highly edited, correct?
Yes, I mean, I come in with an idea of what I want,
Yeah.
but then I like to let the chaos ensue.
Right.
And then the story can change, but I try to, film towards the edit.
Right. So are your shows live to tape, meaning you start and you finish, there are no interruptions?
Sometimes there are.
One would hope.
I mean, that's what you strive for, but
Yeah.
sometimes the guest sneezes or something happens
Yeah.
or a phone rings because they didn't turn off their phones.
Yeah.
And they're in here. Those kind of things happen. I think for me, the hardest thing, which they have many outtakes, is my open and close because I do everything cold. So sometimes be called the one take wonder because I could just stand up, bump, 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 here I am, this is what we're gonna do. Thank you so much. And then at the end, thank the guests. It's wonderful, weren't they terrific? Oh my gosh, I can't stand it, they're so wonderful, blah, 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 blah. And then, thanks, see me again next time on another Cape Conversations. However, there are times when I can't even get around my own
Yeah.
tongue, so. How about
Do
yourself?
you use a teleprompter?
Oh, God, no. How about you?
I use a teleprompter. When
Oh,
that
really?
teleprompter went onto that camera,
Yeah?
I am like, because I would continually screw up. I like to
You need
have.
to take my improv course.
Maybe. I mean, it's memory for me. And so when I'm shooting on location, these poor guys have to just watch me do it over and over and over. And then like all of those food shows, all of those opening takes, we actually had
I see, and I thought those were all just, you were just doing them. I never thought you.
I had written them and remembered them,
you
and
wrote
then
them.
they tweak when you get on location. But
Yeah.
we had Taiki brought a drone. I mean,
yeah.
we were really creative with one
Yeah.
opening. I think it was the burger show, but I screwed that open up so many times that by the time we finally got one, I was like, okay, that's great. I'm like, I don't even know what I said. Did I say anything that made sense? So I need a teleprompter
Yeah.
for
No, I
the
don't use
open,
anything.
just the open. Everything else I'm.
No, I would be bad if I had the teleprompter.
I actually needed the teleprompter at one time to remember my own name.
Okay, that happens.
That happened, yeah. That's true, it happens all the time.
Really?
How about the best show? How about the best show?
They're all the best and the worst.
Yeah, there you go.
They're midway through. When you come in, you got this great idea. You're gonna have this great conversation. You got a great segment planned out, and then everything doesn't work according. You're like, this is just ruined, and you can't believe it. And then you kind of look at it a couple hours. Oh, maybe this works and this works. And then you piece it together. And after looking at it for so many hours and so many emails, you're kind of like, this is it. And there's this kind of completion you feel.
You edit your own shows.
I edit my own shows, but
Yeah.
I feel like no matter what, if you're going through a conversation,
Right.
you're kind of like, oh, this is kind of dragging. And then
Oh, yeah.
it
Oh, yeah.
comes around, and
Yeah.
then there are shows that, maybe aren't as good, but I find that once I'm done, the exercise itself makes it great. I will say King Richard's Fair was fun, but
Yeah. Well, getting arrested was fun.
getting arrested was fun. Whale watching is fun. So there's moments of each that I love.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a super cut one day of
Yeah.
just one great episode.
Oh, that'd be kind of
It'd
cool.
be 30 seconds, but that's how I see them.
Best 30 seconds on TV.
And how about you, Robbie?
Favorite? No, I don't know of any favorite show
Oh, wow.
that I had because
You like
they're
them all?
Cut and dry. Yes, I do.
Yeah, well,
And
that's
I
good.
came to like them all with that one exception.
We'll
But,
never forget that one.
And
Yeah.
it becomes informative to me, so I'm learning also.
Sure.
I don't like to really talk too much about what's happening with the show before it's happening. Because I like to be part of the learning process.
Sure.
Yeah.
There have been times when, after a show, we would sit at this table and we would sit here for as much as an hour afterward.
Wow.
Because the topic was so generally wonderful, we didn't want to stop.
You
Sure.
need an after show.
Yeah.
Isn't that what
It's-
Oprah used to
yeah,
do after
thank
the
you,
show
yeah,
ended? She'd
right.
sit on the stage and talk to people, and then
it was
they'd.
awesome.
Yeah,
Tape.
yeah.
Because I didn't want to know what was happening. I learned so much that
Oh,
I was
sure.
like feeding
Yeah.
on every
Yeah.
word.
That makes a great interview and a great discussion.
What about you, Greg?
Um,
You've done such a variety.
I know.
You probably have several.
I've done different. I would say the clam show and the burger show are probably my two favorites, because it was a fantastic crew. It was nice weather. It came together. It was
Swell
fun to
weather's
show.
nice,
We
yeah.
went to 5 different restaurants in one day.
Yeah, nice.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
A lot of good burgers.
Lot of, and I'm a
Excuse
big
me.
bite. I take a big bite. That's my problem. Then,
So you couldn't
I
eat.
got to say something after I bite, and then everything's
Oh,
great.
sure.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
What about you?
Well, I actually have two favorites. My number one favorite was when we got to go to Boston Light with
that
one
was
of our board members. It was wonderful. And we interviewed the last female lighthouse keeper who was a character. She is now since retired. She was married to a Coast Guardman. And the two of them bickered off camera, bickered a lot, which was very funny because they were in this lighthouse. There's nothing there. They come out, for weeks at a time, and we're there mostly in the summer when kayakers or boaters would come up and what have you. The best part was though, because we went with the Coast Guard on a small little kind of a run. I would call it a runabout, but I'm sure there's a name for the kind of boat it was. We all had to wear flotation suits. Well, of course, I'm not a small person, nor do I claim to be. I was at one time in my life. I am no longer. The best part was, though, I had to get out, and the dock was up here, and the boat was way down here.
no.
And so there's a guy behind me, actually, with his hand on my butt, flotation
Yeah,
suit.
so to speak.
Up, yeah, pushing me up onto the thing. Then I got up there and I was like a tick on my back. And so I kept saying Tyke, who, again, we have so many great crew members. Brian is here now, and everybody who's here, they're just wonderful. Emily. He wouldn't film it. He wouldn't, because I said, take it as an outtake. I can't get up. Of course, they thought I was kidding. I wasn't kidding.
So they didn't film you getting pushed up?
No, nor did they film me on the. He wouldn't
When
do
you
it
were
because he
laying on
thought
your
it was disrespectful to me. But he doesn't know that I like being disrespected that way, because I found it amusing, you know. But going to that lighthouse, and we got to do it twice, was just for somebody from Ohio. You know, to go to a lighthouse in the middle of Cape Cod Bay, you know, looking out, to know that all these other sailors had been there, that it was built, you know, by hard work by the folks who lived in and around Boston, and the people of, you know, the Coast Guard and the military, and it had been, you know, such an important part of the history of it was just, to me, it was just the best ever, and we had a grand time. It was really fun. The other good one, actually, that I really was one I just had this last week.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to interrupt you before you start with the second, because I have a question that must be asked.
Oh, my.
I'm strangling here.
Okay.
Did you happen to notice there was a basket of little animals on her desk when you were interviewing her?
Yes.
Was.
Yes, there was.
I think we found out.
Hard at getting that interview, I want you to know.
Did you have to go out there?
No,
Oh,
she came to me.
oh, see,
But
I
it
had
was
to go
easy
there.
to carry the,
Yes, it was.
not easy to carry a lighthouse.
No.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I
Would you
didn't know.
please
That's too,
continue?
but it's too funny. She has retired since then. So the other one was the conductor, who was just here for the Cape Cod Symphony Orchestra, Fahad Nedjev. A wonderful young gentleman, young dad, 2 kids, just fantastic. And
Right.
that was, you know, it was a pleasure. And here's the thing. He and his wife are immigrants, and they got their American citizenships.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
And they're working.
Yeah.
She's a climatologist. Oh, we wouldn't want to have those people here, would we?
We might need 'em.
Anyway, huh?
We might need them.
Yeah.
We might need them. So,
Or it might
and
be too
Joe,
late.
Yeah, it is.
Joe, you
Yeah.
said the fair one was your favorite, correct?
The fair was, I think there's always a piece in
Yeah.
that they're like, when I'm watching at the end, I'm like, actually, that wasn't too bad. I guess that's kind of
Yeah.
how I watch
Yeah.
each episode.
And Greg, you seem to have you got tough shows, I think. How do you have a favorite?
Well,
Excuse me.
the burger and the
That was favorite,
and the
yeah.
those are my favorites. You know,
Civic ones?
I don't know. When I look at the interviews that I've done, they're all so different. It's not about me. It's not about putting a good show out. It's about being informative.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you're talking about. It's I want to learn. I do know what I need to know about you, but yeah, I just like conversation. I
That's
like
nice.
talking to people, and I like learning, and I like to challenge myself and the guest with being as informative as possible. I have done some shows, even some food shows, where it's like pulling teeth to try to get someone to be.
Do you have because I think what you said, when you go in an interview, you want to know enough but not too much. What is that line of being prepared but not being too prepared where you're
See,
at?
I don't want to know anything.
You don't want to know anything.
Nope.
Well, it depends. The political shows that I do, where I'm interviewing candidates, I do all my research in terms of what topics I want to talk about, and I tell them. So I'll say, you're running for, select board. I'm going to ask you about the new budget, and I'm going to ask you, and then I stop. We don't talk about that before. I might give them some of the topics because I don't want to stonewall people. But at the same time, I need to know, I don't want to be sitting here, and Paula and I talk often, at the end of every taping, I always say, did I hit every topic? that people are
need
going to
to
want
be,
to,
yeah.
because who wants to be asking all the questions except the elephant in the living room? So there I have to do my research, but I don't get into a lot of discussion beforehand unless the guest is really nervous. And that's happened where they're literally
Yeah, they want
sweating
yap.
and they're
Yap.
really uncomfortable. And then it's like,
Nixon
all right.
sweat.
Yeah, trust me, we're going to be
You
okay.
interviewed Nixon?
Yeah. Oh, I actually did. I didn't interview him, but I met him
Oh, there you
on the
go.
street in Hanover, New Hampshire. It's so
Wow.
funny.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Our time is up. How about that? We can,
That was
you know,
fast.
we could do hours. They have no idea how much
Yeah.
we could do with this.
This
I
is
always
great.
wanted to do a roundtable discussion about topics
Well,
present.
guess what? I bet you can if you just do it. Seriously.
It's not something you do alone.
No. You have to,
Yeah.
yeah, you'd have to have the right
She
people.
took you on air to ask you a question, so now you have to formally accept it.
Yeah, exactly.
That was smart. Well done.
Yeah, that was very good, Robbie.
Hey, you know me. I'll do anything. So,
Well, it would also be a wonderful thing to have the four of us do a roundtable. We all have
I can
different
think of many
opinions about
topics.
About the topics, whatever. it
sure,
is.
the
Yeah.
topic of the day. We could have people write in and tell us what they want us to talk about.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
I mean,
All of our
who-
fans.
All of our
Yeah.
fans. Those ones up in the middle of the night.
I think it's 3 people, 4 people on the other side of that wall over
I
there.
know.
They're
They're the
fans.
ones.
I do have fans at 2 a.m. on Saturday night.
Excellent.
Creepy.
And
How so?
Well, no, they can't sleep.
They can't sleep.
How do
It's
you know they're up
wonderful.
at 2 a.m.?
Just this pack, because I know what time it's on at another one of the.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
TV
excellent.
program.
Well, thank you, kids. You did a good
Thank you.
job.
Thank you
Nice
so
work.
much.
Excellent.
It was fun.
You.
And I'll see
You're
you
a
next
good
time.
leader.
Well, thank you. And I'll see you all next time somewhere in Sandwich.